crossover series video with me, Sam Everson, and today I thought we'd just go through a nice technique I've been working on with quite a lot of students recently for your greenside bunker shots. So if you struggle with your sand shots nearer the green, hopefully this video will help you. So the first main thing to understand is actually what we're trying to achieve in a bunker to get a successful escape from the sand. So when we're playing bunker shot, it's quite different to a greenside chip shot in the fact that what we're trying to do with a bunker shot is get the feel of the club working 1 to 2 inches actually below the golf ball. So it's the only shot in golf really that we're actually trying not to make contact with the ball, and that throws a lot of people sometimes. So key things to remember here, if we can sort of make some key changes in our setup, and then with our technique we've got the right concept of allowing that club to work under the golf ball, then we should start seeing a lot more success with this shot. So if you're really struggling in the sand and we're not getting them out to any consistency whatsoever, the first test you need to do in a greenside bunker, if you can get in a practice bunker, and if you're struggling with escaping, the two main issues, you're either going to be in the camp of being too steep, so the club's coming too far down and either hitting the sand and digging the club and the ball doesn't come out, or we hit the ball on its own and we hit it into the face of the bunker. And probably more commonly what I would see in lessons is that actually the player gets too shallow. Okay, so that means the club's reached its low point before the golf ball. By the time we get to hitting the ball, it's on its way up. So effectively we hit halfway up the ball, which then clearly leads to either skinning it over the back of the green way too far, or we just hit it into the face of the bunker again. So the first little test or drill you can do, we're going to have an alignment stick in the sand, and we're just going to get a handspan's width, just draw a line in the sand there. We're going to have an imaginary golf ball. So first of all we're going to try and see if we made a normal swing to that line in the sand, the forward line. If you're a player that gets too shallow, you're going to find you're going to hit that alignment stick without realising it, and then it gives you that feedback that your low point then is too far back behind the ball. So make a couple of swings, try and feel like you're going to hit the line that you've drawn a handspan width in front of the alignment stick. Like I say, if you're a player that's coming down and clipping the stick, that's clearly we're hitting the sand way too early, and then that's the issue why you're not getting out of the bunker. Conversely, if you're taking your shot and you're drilling the club down almost over the line, so past the line you've drawn with your finger, or you're missing the alignment stick by a good 3, 4, 5 inches, then you're a player in the too steep camp. Okay, so we can work on that in practice. So simple drill is try and get the feel of the line in the sand and just make a few swings here, trying to feel as if we could get the club falling over the alignment stick and into the line. And then you'll notice there, as we're bringing the club into the sand's actually, the club's gliding through the sand because we're coming in at the correct angle of attack. It's not digging, it's coming in, it's hitting the line, and it's sliding the sand. So that's before we've done any technical training or changes to your technique. That's a great little test drill that you can do before you actually start looking further into your bunker technique. So here's a few tips so you can just make in your setup and then into your technique that's going to allow us to be a little bit more consistent with the sand contact and the depth of our swing arc to get that club working under the golf ball. Remember, we're going to aim to try and get the feel of the club working under the golf ball, not into the golf ball. Very different to a lot of other shots around the green. So top tips for the setup, if you can remember this, we're going to get in a bunker. The first thing we're going to do is get wider with the feet. So we're going to give ourselves a good stable base, get the feet into the sand. That'll instantly drop you 1 or 2 inches lower than you normally would be. So if you think we want to get the base of our swing arc under the golf ball, going wider and getting the feet into the sand, that's instantly dropped our swing arc lower already. So that's one thing to help. So the second thing is then think of your belt buckle. We're just going to lower the pelvis a little bit, so a little bit more knee bend. That again is lowering the natural swing arc. It's allowing us to get the club under the golf ball. And then the third thing to remember is that weight into that lead knee. So like all short game shots, we've got to try and keep the weight forward and the sternum up with the golf ball to stop any of this leaning back. As soon as the weight shifts into this back foot, upper body tips back, sternum gets behind the ball. That's when we're into our low point too early, and then we're either hitting the sand way too much or we're skinning it into the face again. So remember, wide, low and left. See how it's quite a specialist setup for a bunker shot there. So that's run us through the first main points in the setup that we need to change once we're in the sand. Right, so the second modification we're going to make now is a little how we hold the club. So remember, you've seen by the rehearsals I'm making, it's quite a wristy action as a bunker shot. You see a lot of players playing this with very stiff arms, and they're not getting that free flowing speed at the bottom of the swing. Now remember, we need the speed, the club head speed, to get that ball up and over and onto the green, because as we're not hitting the ball physically, the sand cushions a lot of the speed off the face. So again, we see players in bunkers making nice sand contact, but there's simply not enough energy to get the ball either out the bunker or onto the green. So we ended up with a horrible little chip on the back of the bunker next. So this is a little grip change we want to try and make. Quite subtle, but we're going to make sure that the handle of the golf club is going to go quite low in the palm, almost to the top of the fingers. So that's going to really take it away from the palm of the hand. We're going to work the upper hand over, so we've almost got quite what we call a quite strong grip. You'll notice this left wrist now is quite extended back, or what we would call cupped. That's going to allow us to keep the loft on the golf club throughout the shot. Remember, we want loft to skid under the ball, and that creates the height. And then the right hand is almost the opposite, again in the fingers, and we're going to work the upper hand over. So we've almost got the grip kind of working in opposite directions. Like I say, that's going to allow us to create the wrist hinge and keep the angle of loft through the hit. Right, so we've got our setup. We're going wide, low and left. We've got our grip over with the left hand, over with the right hand, feeling more in the fingers, not the palm. From here now we're ready to make a nice wrist hinge and allow that club to flow at the bottom. Notice there, as I'm swinging through, there's absolutely no driving of this handle here. That's the worst thing you can do in a bunker. That's where you're really going to lift the club up away from the sand. So the feel is here with this grip. We're going to hinge the club on the backswing, and then we're going to really extend our arms, almost feel like you're reaching down to the sand at the bottom of the swing. So as that club flows down under the ball, skids underneath, and you'll notice here as I'm releasing that club at the bottom because of my grip, that club is really adding some speed to it. Okay, so we can get that nice high, soft landing bunker shot that we're all after. Okay, to summarise them, greenside bunker, we're going to go wide, we're going to go low, we're going to go left. We're going to grip it, base of the fingers, forearms facing inwards to keep the loft on. And then from there, let that club release. Try and feel that club flow through, not pulling that handle. No, don't see that driving the handle. That does not help get the golf ball out at all. So try those tips out. Hopefully they help you. Get yourself in a practice bunker and really give this a weaker part of your game. Let's get in there, make it a strong point, or at least something that you've got a bit of confidence next time you get out on the course. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Shot Saver series. Thank you.